What's up, Dirty Cones? So, it's Friday the 13th, which doesn't really, although it could be a double abysmus. They have been celebrated before, because Black Friday. So, double abysmuses are fun. Double ETDs are fun. I wanted to put out an apology. So BJ Sukarich, or Kukarich, I don't know how he says his name. His name is Mike. He brought up a really good point about people using words and that they affect people, and that, you know, as long as we kind of use them still, that, you know, we're just perpetuating. He used, for example, throw like a girl. Now, after seeing Ronda Rousey and some of those MMA girls fight, and seeing a bunch of softball players, I believe throwing like a girl is not an insult, but I understand what he's saying. It reminds me, I got a really good friend who said, you know, there are no bad words, they're just words we don't say in certain company. And I think of the N-word. You know, I don't like that word. I don't like that word, not because of it's just a word, you know, if you just said it, you know, it's just a word, but it's the meaning that goes behind that word, the bad things that have happened to people because of that word, the hate, you know, that's associated with that word, you know. And I don't get that with the word gay, but I get the point of, you know, it's like I said with the First Amendment, you know, you can say whatever you want, you know, but if it hurts somebody, why would you say it? So I still believe you can say whatever you want, but I will refrain from that, just because on the off fact that it might hurt somebody. But once everybody's okay with it, then I think we can bring it back. But you know, I mean, shoot, we're all in this together, you know. Like I say, I'm not better than you guys, and you know, so if someone says, "Hey, dude, maybe that's wrong," or, you know, and that's what you got to be able to do. We need to be able to say to each other, "Hey, you're wrong," or, "Hey, have you thought about it this way?" You know, because people have feelings, and a lot of people don't care about a lot of people's feelings, and maybe if we just cared just a little bit more about each other, each other's feelings, you know, and just said, "You know what? This is gonna hurt somebody's feelings. Why am I gonna do this? There's got to be some other word, or, you know, that just because the First Amendment gives me the right to say whatever I want, maybe, you know, the First Amendment of the planet should be just don't, you know, within reason, you know. I mean, if someone says, "Hey, the number 2 is offensive," you know, and has no reason to say why the number 2 is offensive, then, you know, forget that person. But for humanity's sake, if we'd all just kind of back off a little bit and show a little empathy, I think we'd be all right. So I think this is a very important learning lesson for me, and hopefully you guys kind of go, "Well, you know, it's got a point." Or maybe I don't have a point. I don't know. I just, you know, I do want my kids to not be. Well, my kids aren't racist, but I mean, I don't want my kids to be racist. I don't want my kids to be bigots. I want my kids to, you know, like I said, judge somebody by who they are, not by, oh, they like chocolate ice cream. You know, I like chocolate ice cream, but point taken. So I'd like to say thank you to Mike, and my apologies to anybody. And it's not like think I'm not a comedian, so comedians say you should never apologize for your jokes, and because they're just jokes. But these aren't. It's not. I'm not a comedian. These aren't jokes. This is like who I am. I guess it's a progressive going. So I don't feel. I don't feel bad for because I don't think I was thinking wrong. But I feel bad because I understand the thought process, and so living, learning, growing, loving, it's life. So yesterday, yesterday in 1960, I'm sorry, tomorrow in 1966, a young PJ named Plyman dies, and he's actually the first PJ to die. Pittsburgher will die in April 11th, 1966. But there was an F4. They got shot down, or they got hit, and they were having some engine troubles, and so they were aiming for the coast. They were over North Vietnam, and they got over the water, and they punched out. But I don't know if you guys know about currents. Currents are pretty strong sometimes. You get that Bay of Newfoundland, or that Newfoundland Bay of Fundy in Newfoundland, and that tide goes in and out pretty quick, and so it's hard to swim against the current sometimes. Although tides and currents do not affect the combat diver. These guys were pilots, so they were affected by tides and currents, and so the tide and the current are bringing them back towards an island, and the island's heavily VC, NVA, it's North Vietnamese controlled. So, and there was an albatross in the area, and so they flew over them, looked, saw the pilots, landed next to them, and so as soon as they land next to him, the PJ jumps out, goes swimming for him. Well, they start taking machine gun fire, some sampans start, motoring over to him, and artillery fire starts coming in. Well, the artillery, one of the rounds hits in the PJ, and one of the pilots was almost in, and kills the PJ, wounds one of the other guys. The pilot's still all right. And so then a bunch of Sky Raiders came through, and they're dropping bombs and keeping away the sampans. And a Navy bird came in, picked up most of the crew. I believe one of the engineers and the PJ were killed. Picks up most of the crew. Well, as they're leaving, one of the other guys is still in the water. So one of the Sky Raiders that flew over saw that. So the jets and planes came back and held off the Vietnamese till till another Navy helicopter could come and rescue that pilot and take him home. So he was way lucky on that one. And I want to say his name was Jason Plyman, which is strange because Jason Plight was another PJ that died. He died with Mike Maltz and Komodo 11, and that's coming up next week. And so when I guess in 92, when we renormalized speaking with the Vietnamese, they gave us back Aaron Plyman's body, and he was able to be buried properly. And so that's pretty cool. He was the first PJ killed in Vietnam, and that that happens tomorrow in 1966. And then, so it's funny, I mean, I didn't know the man. Well, I mean, anybody that dies, you know, is you know, it sucks. The loss of human life, you know, they got moms, dads, brothers, sisters, you know, and so it's sad. But, I think, you know, if maybe people realized, you know, what's going on, maybe it would be a little bit less to fight, maybe a little bit more on the, let's try some diplomacy. And yes, there are some people that you just can't be diplomatic with. ISIS, for example. ISIL, whatever. But somehow we normalize and keep the peace with the Russians and the North Koreans and the Chinese. But yet they're more evil. They do. North Korea, the things it does to its people, the things that Putin does to people. He puts people in prison for singing a song. You know, these are evil men, but we don't fight them. And I don't know if it's, you know, because it's trade negotiations or, you know, I mean, basically it comes down to we don't want to hurt the money flowing. And so they just keep on doing it. But we don't stop them. And so that bothers me. That, you know, I mean, bad people deserve to die. I got it. Or I totally get it. I agree. But at the same time, bad people that we can't affect, you know, invading Crimea was a horrible thing. Those dudes are... those people are suffering immensely. You know, northern Iraq suffering immensely. Bums me out because, you know, America used to fight for freedom everywhere, and I think we're still good, but you gotta, like, question the motives of people. Like, what is Congress doing? Like, your mom and dad right in front of us, you know? I'm not saying you gotta agree with the president, but you don't gotta be dicks to the dude. I mean, he's trying. I'm not a big Iran fan myself, but much like I was talking about earlier, you know, the bigoted thoughts and things that people say and do, well, sooner or later, the Ayatollahs are getting old, you know, and the youth of Iran are a lot more pro-American and you know, free thought than those guys. So we just got to outlast, you know, Congress is old too. We just got to let all those people with, you know, look at, who's that racist senator back in the day? Well, there were a bunch of them, but shoot, even the dude who did the segregation now, segregation forever speech changed his mind, you know, and said he was sorry. So people can change. People need to change. Attitudes should change. And, you know, we need, I mean, I'm not saying we should all be a bunch of hippies. Because, I mean, look how the hippies turned out. The hippies went so far whacked out to the other side that, you know, they brought all the 80s greed. So I think it's more like finding some kind of moderate road for you, you know. You don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. And we all just live happily ever after. You know, or maybe if people, you know, it takes a village, you know, to raise a child. If we all kind of thought of ourselves as more of a village and less of a whatever we are, you know, because we've we've gotten too big. You know, how many of you guys know your neighbors? You know? It's hard. I mean, you work all day, you got kids, you got soccer practice, you got whatever. You know, there's no time. And, you know, we got Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and, you know, I mean, everybody is more connected than ever, but at the same time, we've never been further apart. And, you know, let peace begin with me. Like I said, well-armed pacifism. You know, if somebody is bad, you know, 99 out of 100 people go, yeah, that dude's bad. You know, and you know in your heart what's wrong and what's right. You know, I mean, I know. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that, you know, or I wish I'd said something. You know, back to South Africa when that, you know, with the black lady and the guy, and I just, you know, laughed nervously because I didn't know what to do. Wanted to say something, but, you know, and so, like I said, God allows U-turns, so you just gotta stop doing whatever you're doing. So I'm gonna stop whatever I'm doing and you know, keep trying to make the world a better place. And so I want to thank Mike again for pointing out the error in my thought process. And you know, let's talk. What do you guys think? Let's, you know, the world will change because we change it. You're gonna graduate because you want to graduate, because you make yourself graduate. You're gonna do things because it's all willpower. And, you know, rolling over and letting the bad guys always win. You know, but there's gotta be a way. And maybe the Russians are just as scared of us as we are of them. Same thing with the Chinese and the North Koreans. I mean, unfortunately, you know, they're controlled by dictators, but that doesn't make the people bad. People believe whatever they tell them because they don't know any better. You know, just like in Afghanistan, you know, the people, they think, oh, the Americans, they're infidels and they kill a bunch of people. But it's because they lack education. The people don't know. They believe what their imams say. You know, and they're not all saying we're bad, but I'm saying that the people that don't like us, you know, we never did anything to a lot of people. I'm not saying we've always done the right thing. The CIA has admitted to a lot of coups and attempted coups and overthrows, and you know, and unfortunately they seem to be in the interest of banana plantations and certain pineapple growers, and you know, so nobody's perfect, but we try to do the right thing. And I think that that's what America, we're still trying to do the right thing. I think just maybe sometimes we don't know what the right thing is. And so I don't know. I just know I'm gonna keep trying to be the good person that I'm trying to be. And you know, I think 9 times out of 10 I do alright. So you know, aim for a higher batting average, and I think we'll all get there in the end. So thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a good one, and happy Friday.